Hey, what's going on? JD here, and this is the Daily JD. Thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, remember, smash that like button. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully, you are staying nice and warm. If you live in the same area that I do, it is brutally cold. If you haven't read a tweet or saw somebody post it on Facebook or anything along those lines, it's cold. It's definitely, sort of back to, what I remember as kind of a kid in Fort McMurray. But yeah, I mean, it's cold. Hopefully you're staying warm. Hopefully you're nice and safe and all that kind of good stuff. Of course, we go live Tuesdays only now until such time as the stream has a following that justifies going back and adding the Thursday edition. So if you are here, please do make sure to smash that like button. Let me know that you are in the chat. Of course, we let you know when we go live by tweeting out on Twitter, as well as you can follow me on my socials on Instagram at Pain Inc., as well as on Twitch at Pain Inc. Hey, good to see you, Craftsmith Coswork. I want to say cosplay, but it's Filmworks. I still get that wrong from time to time. Thanks for tuning in, man. Hopefully you are keeping warm and doing well. And of course, I want to start the stream by thanking our Patreon supporters. Of course, that is none other than Reviewy McReviewface. You can check out his channel over there. Link is in the chat, as well as of course, our YouTube sponsors, none other than Josh WRB and Mum's Universe. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting us month after month. So, yeah, it's been an interesting kind of news week. I do have some stuff to talk about. I'm looking forward to some things going on this week as well. Venturing out into the cold being one of them. And but we got some things to talk about. And of course, as is tradition, if there is anything that you do want to talk about, by all means, throw that in the chat and we can discuss whatever you like. And so today we are talking about the big thing is the numbers for the platforms, how things have changed. If you've watched this stream month after month, I know we've talked a lot about all the movement that's gone on between platforms like Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, Mixer stealing a lot of, Twitch's bigger players, guys like Ninja, and taking them to their platform exclusively. YouTube also doing the same thing. So it's been kind of an interesting few months in those regards. Obviously big money is being spent to move these guys about and get them on exclusive contracts. And up until now, we didn't really know what was going on in terms of sort of percentage and what that equates to. And the funny thing is that it's the numbers, they don't surprise me, but at the same time, I'm a little surprised. So, we'll get into those in a bit. Good to see you, Dan, here for a few while I get ready to go out in the cold. Appreciate that. Hopefully you bundle up well, because it is not fun out there. So we're going to talk about the four gaming platforms, the big gaming platforms. And that, of course, is Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, and Facebook. So, that's kind of it. Twitch had the largest market share of view hours for streaming. So out of all of the hours in the internet that people watch game streaming, Twitch last year had 67% of that share. So they dominated that marketplace, and it looked like, they were champ. I mean, they got picked up by Amazon. Amazon has it worked in with Prime, so you can subscribe to your favorite Twitch streamer. They get a little bit of a kickback, and there's a whole bunch of ecosystem worked in with Amazon, hard baked right into Twitch. And even with all that money, like I said, YouTube and Mixer starting the attack with basically taking Ninja off the platform and moving him to Mixer, did cause some disruption, especially when this started happening on a more frequent basis. So the numbers are in from 67% market share. Twitch has dropped down to 60%. And I guess that's really not a surprise, given that so much talent has moved off the platform that they were going to take a hit somewhere. Now, back when we were initially discussing the story, we weren't sure, whether people would leave the platform, follow people to other platforms. Would they follow big people like Ninja and make Mixer their home and forget about Twitch? What was the reason there, and so on. And it looks like, a good chunk of people did follow people off the platform. However, when we start taking a look at some of the other numbers, it gets really interesting. So YouTube was next in market share. They had 20, I think it was like 22%, 21%, and they only gained like a half point over the last little while. So they've grown a little bit. They saw bigger strides in the last year when they started to push YouTube gaming. There has been some issues over on YouTube in terms of the gaming thing. A big part of it that people have claimed is that if they're streaming over there, that discoverability is a big issue. So, it's not as, flushed out as Twitch, because Twitch, you go on, you find a gaming category you're interested in, and you can find tons of streamers almost immediately streaming that stuff. The YouTube gaming platform is a little less streamlined, and a lot of people just go directly to the YouTube platform, and then it's really convoluted. So, things get kind of lost there in translation. But the biggest gains, you would think would be Mixer when they pull somebody like, Ninja over, and that's just not the case. They grew like 0.2%. They went from like 2.4 to 2.6%. And that's, a very insignificant number, probably considering the amount of money they paid Ninja to come over to the platform. Where we've seen the biggest increase in gaming is actually Facebook. They've jumped from like 3 to 8.5%. So, I mean, it's interesting that, a platform that hasn't been really in this poach creators game is actually making the biggest strides. But the truth of the matter is that I spend a bit of time on Facebook because of the Facebook groups I'm involved in. And, I generally have most social media platforms open during the day, just kind of keeping my finger on the pulse. And I will tell you, like, I don't subscribe to anybody that is a gamer whatsoever on any of these platforms. But Facebook is definitely pushing those videos and those streams a lot into other people's, platform. So, as far as, the numbers and growth in platform, YouTube has made the most gain. They sit in number 3 in market share, but they've made the most gain, exponentially almost. Mixer, for the amount of money that they've spent, have made practically no gains whatsoever. I think that's largely because it is a Microsoft, sort of based environment, that it is limiting, that a lot of times, it's just people on the Xbox platform, which is funny because I always say that Mixer probably has the best streaming, in terms of latency. While this has a delay from, sort of when you hear when I speak and when it comes across to you, there's probably actually about a 5-second delay with no pre-delay set in for a YouTube thing. So, I kind of see those comments a bit later and you probably hear my response. That being said, hey, good to see you, Canadian Pinoy Radio Montreal. Hello, bonjour. Hope you are doing well. Dan says, there is a few gamers that seem to do well on Facebook. I'm subbed to a couple of them. Yeah, and I mean, it's funny. Like, I mean, the only reason I actually know that there is a Facebook gaming initially was because of Jason Mewes, the other half of Jay and Silent Bob, or Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, the actors that play those characters. But Jay's a streamer, and he streams Fortnite. Not that Fortnite is my forte per se, but he's on there and he's big into Facebook, and he seems to do quite well. And it's funny actually when Kevin Smith does a lot of his live streams, and he's with Jay. Jay will plug his gaming gaming stream there as well. And Kevin likes to use the Facebook platform as well, which is, it's all very interesting in those regards. But, like I said, Facebook is the fastest growing of the group. They've basically quadrupled their market share, but they still are a distant third, from the 25%, 27% market share of YouTube. And then everybody is, well behind on the the category that is Twitch. I mean, Twitch, even though they have dropped down to 60%, that's still a commanding threshold of that space. So I mean, as far as gaming goes, it's definitely the place to be. But, the truth of the matter is, due to the exponential growth and the fact that, Facebook is pushing stuff, if you are a game streamer, Facebook may be the place to kind of drop your hat and try to build an audience. I mean, there is no doubt that Facebook is the largest social media platform on the internet. It has, the most users of any social media platform. Therefore, it has the clout, and it's got, that user base built in. It's just how well they distribute it. Things like Facebook Watch TV, which was supposed to bring TV to Facebook, in my opinion, has been completely underwhelming in their delivery of that, and actually somewhat difficult. And the other portion of it as well is that anybody that's a creator on Facebook, in order to get monetized, they've got some really strange numbers there, and how they count views and watch time just doesn't seem to jive. A lot of times you will see these astronomical, video counts, but very little watch time. Why? Because Facebook actually counts views as a 3-second view. So a lot of people that have autoplay on their browser or on their phone, when they scroll over a video, if that plays for a whole 3 seconds, it counts as a view. And, I think we discussed last month how, Facebook is claiming this massive increase in views, but it's how you determine what that view is. YouTube's view count, you have to watch, a good 20 to 30 seconds of that video to even be considered a view. Otherwise, it's just sort of an incidental click. But Facebook, it's 3 seconds and it's a view. So I mean, their numbers are obviously padded. The thing is any of these platforms, when they put down, other than things like watch hours, watch time, users on the platform, it's, some of the metrics that they use are determined by them, and they're non-comparable with other platforms. So sometimes it can be difficult to determine exactly which is which and what is what. Craftsman says, I was in a Jason Mewes stream from Calgary Expo a few years ago. It was only about 5 seconds, but it still counts. It is. It's cool. I was, used to be at the Calgary Expo, used to display there. I mean, Mewes and Smith were there the 1 year that I was doing it, my exhibiting there. I saw Mewes all the time, smoking cigarettes out the back. I would have loved to have gone up and said hi to him. It's funny because I actually talked to the actor who plays Chewbacca there, because he was out there having a smoke and he asked me for a light. And because he engaged the conversation, I naturally talked to him to be polite, because that's where I would park my Jeep with all my stuff to bring inside. And those guys were just kind of right there. But I didn't go out of my way to initiate conversation, because, a lot of times when these guys are out there on the loading dock smoking cigarettes, they're there to get a break from the fans and the crowds and all those kind of things. And as much as I am a big fan, especially of Kevin Smith and the Clerks series and, the Jersey trilogy and all of that, I don't want to step over those bounds, because, the guy's taking a break. It wouldn't be cool. So, but that's awesome that you were in his video. And now I'm jealous, I'm jealous of you for that. I'm jealous for Steven for getting his photo with Jay and Kevin Smith. And it's funny because a friend of mine actually offered me to come, and they had paid to have a photograph taken with them. They're like, hey, come be in the photo with us. You can do that. And I declined because, it was her and her husband that were going to do it. And I didn't want to play third wheel either. So, I mean, I'm kind of, breaking my luck streak in a sense, going against the flow. But, I have strong boundaries, I guess, is what it is. I won't put myself before other people. Granted, is very generous that, people do offer me things like that. But, for me, I feel like, if you've paid good money to do it, just because I can't necessarily pay that good money doesn't mean, that, you should, pull me into yours and all that kind of stuff. Cause it's a better family photo when, it's, the couple and, the other couple, the two couples. So there you go. So some other things that are going on, there's some interesting stuff going over on Instagram. Instagram is cracking down on photoshopped photos. There's an interesting article on Petapixel if you ever go over there. They are actually taking action, and they're taking down or, basically stopping the flow of Photoshop pictures on Instagram, which is really kind of weird to me because there is a ton of photographers on there. Every photographer I know, myself included, uses Photoshop, whether that's for color correction and minor stuff to major, obviously, altering of pictures and colors. It all sort of came about when a photographer from San Francisco posted a multicolored hills thing. It was sort of like the hoodoos, and they were multicolored. It was just kind of a filter, a pride filter, and then all of a sudden it was boom. Instagram says that they've started this, that they've started sweeping through. It's a combination of people reporting and an algorithm. So it will be interesting to see how it goes and what is really kind of considered Photoshop, because there are a ton of models and a ton of people on there that, they are going to have their Instagrams, decimated if that's the case from Photoshop stuff. So I find it very, interesting. And that's everything from, like I said, altering models to, taking a landscape, and if the sky isn't dramatic enough, altering the sky. The thing is computers tend to be very good at recognizing, alterations to stuff. The data is different. You can see it from, sort of a coding level, but, you wouldn't see it necessarily with the naked eye. So it will be interesting to see how that all sort of plays out. The other interesting part is Facebook, which owns Instagram. You will see that they are doing the same thing. They have essentially banned deepfake videos, which isn't a bad thing. If you don't know what a deepfake video is when you take something, a video of something, and then you take a bunch of photographs. So you would have multiple angles or multiple photographs of various expressions of a different person. You feed that to a computer, and then the computer will basically Photoshop the video so it looks like that person. It's kind of got its notoriety from pornography, where a lot of people would take, celebrities and Photoshop them into pornographic movies. Platforms like Pornhub have taken a stance against that as well, which I think is really good as well. But the interesting part again is for somebody to see these sometimes on a good deep fake, it is very difficult to tell what's going on. There's also audio stuff. Adobe has a company called Hummingbird, I believe, that can actually take a voice and replicate it fairly well. And they did a demo, I think, where they had Barack Obama and Donald Trump speak, a while back, and I couldn't tell. There's absolutely no way. Things like that get a little bit scary because, if you deep fake a video, have somebody in a set up presidential room or something like that with voice, and you go on, there could be some implications. And it's hard enough with misinformation and fake stories and fake news stories. When you start getting into video and audio, it becomes an entirely different thing. And you can really manipulate your audience in those cases. But Facebook has at a point now where they've said they're going to eliminate deepfake videos. I'm not sure contextually what is specifically they're going to go after. I mean, I don't know where parody. I think This Hour has 48 Minutes did a deep fake video featuring Donald Trump, which was was funny, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes in the future moving forward. Craftsmith says almost all of my photos I post on Instagram are edited in Photoshop. And again, sort of a perfect example. And especially if you start doing, green screen stuff and all those kind of things. And I mean, I get it. It's with the Instagram thing, I kind of think they're trying to come from a moral high ground in the sense that they probably want to preserve, maybe body image or something like that. That there are a lot of unrealistic expectations that are set out there for people and how they look because people don't realize how heavily photoshopped things like model images are. There was a great video a long, long time ago of how a Cosmo, cover is put together and how much editing they actually do to the cover photo to make it look the way it does. And I mean, that's all accessible technology to a lot of people. And there are some people that are highly, highly skilled. So it will, again, it's interesting. It's an interesting thing because, for some people, like photo manipulators and photo artists, guys that create these imaginary scenes, Photoshop's a key tool. I mean, monsters and dragons don't all live in real life, but some people are extremely talented and are able to create very realistic looking, sort of photoscapes with that. And it takes talent and it's very much an art. And I would hate to see that kind of be a victim of what's going on. But that's kind of what's happening with, sort of Facebook and Instagram, so it's definitely an interesting time, moving forward. Other than that, I don't have a ton for you guys. If you want to drop anything that you want to discuss in the comments, by all means, let me know. Like I said, I'm super excited for this week, and the reason being, I guess I have to talk about it today because I won't talk to you guys till next week. So this week I do get to see Kevin Smith. He is in town. He is doing a showing of Jay and Silent Bob Reboot at the Globe Theater, which is probably my favorite theater in town with its grotesquely small and uncomfortable seats. But I still love the place. It just reminds me of a different time. But he is, and the fact that you can buy a beer, which is wicked to kind of do that stuff. But yeah, they're in town on Friday, so I'm excited for that. Excited to hear him talk. I've heard him talk several times. Always entertained by it. So I'm looking forward to that. I tried my best to get him to come on One Killer Story, which is my new podcast that should be coming out at the beginning of next month. We're just waiting on some music for that, but we've got a few episodes taped, which is awesome, and I have some really cool guests lined up for that. But yeah, I mean, it's very, very cool in the sense I just realized I had the audio on playing through the headphones. So hopefully it hasn't been reverbing for you guys all the way through, because I know this was picking it up slightly when I was doing the test for the audio. But sort of back on things. Yeah, I mean, going down to the Globe, it is a ton of fun. I tried to get him on One Killer Podcast. He liked the tweet, so I know he saw it, but I didn't get any kind of response beyond that. I'm still keeping my fingers crossed that, maybe I'm more than willing to go set up anywhere. He doesn't have to necessarily come here, but, to be invited on a random podcast, I totally get it, but I gotta take my shot, right? I think on the Facebook page, I offered to interview him as well for the magazine, and we will see. Hopefully, and my friend JD Lewis interviewed him a while back when they first announced the show on CJ92. I was very envious of him and Mott's for getting that opportunity, because after listening to that interview, and I listened to it in its entirety, I don't think they are the biggest Kevin Smith fans in the world, but good on them. It's we'll keep on trying. So, like I said, other than that, I don't have a ton of stuff for you guys. Tomorrow I drop a new video. There is a a giveaway involved in it. So if you're interested, well, you'll have to see tomorrow what the video is all about. But I am giving away something. This is my first giveaway of 2020. There are possibly a few more giveaways as well. This one, I'll just say this. I think, it's cool. I kind of debated actually about whether I wanted to give it away or not, but I will be giving it away. You'll have to watch the video to see that tomorrow, but definitely check that out. That will be dropping as typically. I launch everything about 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, I think is my general go-to time to launch. I don't know why it is. I just got in the habit of that with Lloyd and JD, and I stuck with it. So I don't know if it's the best time at all, but who knows? But yeah, other than that, I don't have a ton of stuff for you guys. So this is where I'm going to call it. I'm going to leave you with some Game of Thrones because winter is coming. Actually, it's well on its way here. And until next Tuesday, see ya.